Welcome, everyone. You are about to embark on a journey through the universe as you indulge in this extraordinary essence of enlightened, empowered, evolved. Let the show begin in 5, 4, 3, 2,
Here
1.
we go. Greetings, everyone. I'm Luke Bryan Smith, and welcome to Enlightened, Empowered, Evolved. Ugh, I got tongue-tied a little bit, where we educate, liberate, and motivate you through enlightening dialogues, empowering music, and evolving content. I know everyone's doing well and everything is unfolding perfectly, and I am excited yet again because my next guest is a mother, certified life wellness coach, published author, an advocate for self-love and personal development. She has studies in psychology, is a member of the National Society of Leadership and Success, and hosts the Healing Chats podcast, and a whole lot more. But without further ado, I introduce to you Kimberly Moorer. How are you doing today, Kimberly?
I am doing well, so well. Thank you
Yes,
for asking.
yes, and thank you for being here. I'm a firm believer that time is one of our most precious assets, and for you to decide to spend just a little bit of your time in the history of your life here with me,
Yeah.
I just want to extend again my sincerest gratitude to you.
Oh, I appreciate the invitation as well.
Yes, so let's just get right into it. As I was
Okay.
saying prior to, excuse me, prior to this segment,
Hmm.
I'm going to reflect on some of the things that the information that you sent me. So,
Okay.
certified life and wellness coach. Give us a little bit of info on that, how you got started in that, and what does that entail with you?
Okay. How I got started was after my divorce. I went through a divorce in my latter 20s, and after it was kind of a time where I had to rediscover myself. I
Yes,
had to find out a lot of things about, who I was, the person that, I had become this new, version of myself. So through my self development and going through the changes that I went through, um, I decided that I wanted to teach others how to um, heal, do their healing work as well. I always wanted to, even as a kid, though, I always wanted to be a therapist, psychiatrist, whatever you want to call it, something in that field. I always wanted to do that.
right,
So it was just always with me. So once I did go through the process of healing myself, and which of course we always have healing to do, but once I went through that transition and I began to recreate who I was and everything like that, I had a pull on me to help others do the same thing. So that's kind of like how I really got started with it after my divorce.
wow, that's amazing. And I just have to highlight that
Hmm.
never gets old. That when we go through things that can be quite challenging, it oftentimes it can go one of two ways: either bring us down further or inspire us to propel us more to, like you said, not only pull yourself up and help yourself, but help other people.
Hmm.
And that's
I
amazing.
agree. Right, because the first thing a lot of us ask ourselves when we're going through something, like, why me?
Right,
Why am I going through this? Why did this happen to me?
right,
And I even ask those questions as well. But a lot of times, we don't want bad things to happen to us, but because they do, God allow those things to um, help us and make us better. And
right,
because it makes us better, life is better. So,
right, right,
it happens for your good, really.
right. That's amazing that you because I'm a firm believer that life is all about perspective. And for you to put it in that perspective just adds an element of just benefit to whatever we go through. It's amazing. And that's an amazing, in my perspective, mindset and thought pattern to have, is to know that We will go through things, not that we wish that on ourselves, but
Right.
if we can look at it in a different way and see what we can gain from that and let it empower us instead of disempower us, then that's just a whole different level and make us stronger. And I just want to commend you for allowing it to do that and not not saying, you know, all the backstory and all that. You had some days, I'm sure, that difficult,
I
but
did.
you're here now, and what you're speaking on now is strictly empowerment. And yeah, that's what I love to highlight. Now, I understand we go through things and it's hard this day, but that's not what I like to highlight. I mean, we can briefly talk about that, but no, I like to talk about the strength that you and the lessons and what
Yeah.
had transpired and what it has transformed you, um,
Mhm.
and highlighted your strength and your own power, and that's amazing.
Yeah.
Now you're also an author as well. Can you tell us a little bit about that? What inspired you to write a book? The title of the book? I'll start with that, and let's talk about that a little bit.
Okay. I have been writing since I was a teenager. Since I was probably about 15, but I started out writing a lot of poetry and stuff.
Right.
So writing has kind of like been a part of my life for a while now. But also along with my self development and after my divorce, that's when I did my first book. I have a few. And I
Oh,
also did
wow.
a couple of collaborations as well, so with other people. But my very first book also came from my healing journey after my divorce.
Right.
And it was, bounce back after divorce, take your life back, all this stuff like that. So yeah, and it was basically like stages and steps to help people to recover after they have gone through a divorce or either a long term relationship or whatever the case may be. It was just like created 4 stages that I created to help them, start back
Wow.
on a recreation of their life.
Wow.
Hmm.
So you have several books now. Could you give us a couple of titles and title of your recent book so that we can kind of get
Okay.
familiar with those titles?
I
And
would say
okay, go ahead.
my last book, which is, and I don't know why when somebody asks you a question, you draw a blank,
That's okay. We can come back to it. We
but
come back to it.
it's I got it. It's 365 days of self discovery.
365 Days
So
of Self-Discovery by Coach Kimberly or Kimberly Moore.
it's just my name, yes, Kimberly M. Moorer. So all of my books will be found on Amazon under my name, Kimberly M. Moorer.
M.
But
Moore.
yeah, that's
Okay.
what it is.
Okay.
365 days of self discovery. And what it
Discovery.
is it's a year journal, which it is like that's why the name of it 365 days. And it's a journal that is packed with affirmations. It's packed with writing prompts. It's packed with different affirmations and stuff like that. It also has a space where you can create your own journal entries.
Oh, wow.
So yeah, it's just like yeah, it's like a whole book. It's pretty thick too. So I put a lot of time in on it. So it definitely will get you back. And it's not like the little, but it's questions that really get you to dig deep and really get into who you are, the innermost part, what you want, how you feel, who you are. So
Wow.
it's helping you to develop yourself and just really find who you are and where you're going and where you want to go.
Ooh, that sounds absolutely amazing. So that's
Yeah.
365 days of what?
Self discovery.
Self-discovery. And that is powerful. That title is powerful. So yeah, I want everybody to go on to Amazon and pick that up. 365 Days of Self-Discovery by Kimberly Imora. Right? Okay. And I'll be sure to incorporate that link in the description of this segment so that people can just go on there and click and get right to your book. So I'll make sure that I
Okay.
put that in there. That's amazing. So yes, and you have several books under your author title, your author name, your name.
Yeah. Yes.
Okay. So we have to look into that as well. So next, tell us a little bit about your podcast here on this podcast. How did you come up
Okay.
with it? What does it entail a little bit? Just give us a little bit of the recipe of in the insight of what you talk about and how'd you, you
Yeah.
know, a little bit inside of it.
Well, I started out, as like a lot of people like to talk about relationships and stuff like that. And it started out with a group of people. I used to go live and just have a conversation. I'm a person who loves the dialogue.
Right.
And I'm also, because I'm a big psychology person, I like to get in the mind and the thoughts of others. Like, I know me and how I feel and what I think. So I would like to know, what you think and how you feel.
Wow.
So along with my healing journey, and I'm on a new series called Journey to Self. And I have conversation with people, and everyone has a story. Everyone's story is different. So my question is, what did that look like for you? What did that journey to self look like to you? So basically, it's just we're having conversation about how did they find themselves? What did it look like? What kind of aha moment they had that allowed them to see who they are and make the changes they need to make to become a better version of themselves.
Wow. Wow. So that is amazing. And those are important conversations to have. Wow. And so how can people view and or listen to this podcast?
They can listen. It's on Spotify, so it's just they can just listen to the. I mean, type in the name Healing Chat Podcast, and it'll come up.
Wow. Healing Chats podcast. Okay. So
Hmm.
I'm gonna have to check that out too so I can
Yeah, it's
learn.
on Spotify and it's on what's the other one? iHeartRadio.
Oh, wow. iHeartRadio.
iHeartRadio. It should be on the Apple podcast too. I think it's on there
Okay.
too.
Wow. So how long have you been doing the podcast? How many episodes would you say you had or have?
Mhm. Um, I'm not sure how many episodes I have right now, but I have been doing it a couple of years.
Couple
But
of
it's
years.
at least
Sort of like me.
20 episodes on there. Yeah, it's at least 20 episodes on there.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, this time it's kind of like revamped because I had a new vision for it, like I just said about
Yeah.
yeah, because it was a different name at first, and so now it's Healing Chat. So yeah.
But you know what? And I have to even turn that into a bit of a dialogue. When you're on your journey, in my perspective, what I found is when you're on your journey and you're creating, nothing,
Mhm.
be able to flow, and that's what you're demonstrating. Nothing has to be set in stone. You get
Oh yeah.
ideas one day that might pop, and then the next day, no. It's like, wait a minute, I want to
Right.
change that to, you, and that's an example and a demonstration for everyone out there watching and or listening that, because you have one idea one day does not mean that you'll have that same inspiration the next day. And it doesn't mean the inspiration that you had at first was bad. You just were meant to change, flow, different things
Yes,
inspire us. You might have some different thoughts going through your head when you come up with
I
with
agree.
one name, and then the next day something else inspired you. You want to change it because even before I came up and settled with Enlightened, Empowered, Evolved, I went through several names, and then I
Yeah.
finally, it just really resonated with me and I just stayed with that. And it's not saying that even from a marketing standpoint that I won't change it in the future. If something
Right.
inspires me to change it, and then even though I get the business end of it saying, oh, no, no, you're building on this brand. No, I'm not, I'm going to change it. And because I
Right.
have to, this is something that I feel like that this is, I want to be careful how I say it, but something that I'm creating. So there's no stipulations on it. It doesn't belong to
Right. I
anyone.
agree.
There's no stipulations like, if I was working for someone else, this is something that I've been inspired to create. So I should be able to do with it what I want with it. If I want to change the nature of the topics I speak about, the name,
Mhm.
then I'll do so. And I just want to commend you for doing that too. And you might not have looked at it that way, but yeah, just the
Yeah, I
different
didn't.
yeah, different things inspire you from one day to the next, and that's amazing. So
I
yes,
agree because I think people forget that as you're changing and evolving, and recreating yourself. Your mindset changes. And once your mindset changes, your habits change, things you do change. So quite naturally, what worked for in the beginning won't work for you anymore.
Right.
So that happens. You
Right.
know,
Right.
we like to be perfect and we like to have a sense of perfection in our mind. And
We do.
life's just not about that.
Right. And I like how you put that because on a similar frequency, I always say that this certain thing does not serve a purpose for me any longer, so that I'm not on that anymore. I'm on a different channel now, you know, and it doesn't necessarily mean some people might take it as you saying that you're being better. And I say, yeah, I am being better, but I'm not saying that I'm being better than you. I'm saying I'm being better than who I was, or I feel like I'm
Right.
elevating from who I was, that I'm elevating. And now I think that we all are, you know, significant. We just have differences. That's all, you know. So I'm never trying to come across like I'm better than anyone other than my who I was yesterday, you know. And that's a continued journey that I feel like that we all are on, and I just embrace it, you know, how everything that I go through, you know, what, and I'm learning how to do it in a calm way without panicking and let my mind work too much in overdrive. But I try to analyze things, you know, without over analyzing, but analyzing
Right.
conversations I've had, analyzing even this segment between you and I, and how I can learn from it and
Mhm.
and possibly elevate myself from it and be better, you know? Yeah. And
Yeah.
at the same time, it's not saying that I'm not good enough now, because
Mhm.
I also have another saying that I pride myself with, and it goes, I am a masterpiece and a work in progress simultaneously. So,
Nice.
yes.
I like that.
Yes, yes. So that's yeah. I love that because it means that even though I'm working to be better every day, it doesn't mean that just because I want to be better that I'm not where I'm supposed to be and I'm no good now. It just means that I just want to improve myself and be more connected with peace, harmony, and balance, and want things to flow. And
Right.
that's a, you know, those take adjustments in your life,
It
you know,
does. It
because
does.
circumstances occur, you know, different experiences occur, different people we encounter. So, you know, we have to learn through all of that. So, a- and just like you said, even through your divorce, I'm sure it taught you some easy, but some hard lessons, and you learn more
Yes.
about yourself. I'm sure
Mhm.
about
I
other
did.
people as well, because
Mhm.
in my perspective, we do look at other people and all that they've done. But I think when we get to a point where we can really look at us, like,
Mhm.
even if we feel like people have done stuff, okay, well, why did I draw that to me? Why did I accept that? Why did I this,
Right.
that, all kinds of stuff? I just started looking at that. What's the common
Right.
denominator? Okay, how can I, you know, do better within myself and have better encounters? And how could I have dealt with these different things in a different way that was more
Right.
that's more conducive to my higher self, my peace, you know, with God,
Mhm.
you know. Yeah, so just so many things now, the way I think, not saying that everything that I go through now is easy, no, but at
Oh
least
yeah. No.
I'm aware, and
Mhm.
I get to a point where quickly I know that there must be something in here that I can learn to improve
Right.
myself, or, you know, or even like learn about other people, so
Right.
that
Oh,
I
I.
won't,
I.
they either teach you, I think everybody's your teacher too. They either teach you what to do or
Or what
what
not to
not to
do.
do. There you go. You already know that.
Yeah. I say life is full of lessons and blessings.
There you
You
go.
know, and that's how I look at it. Like if it's something you didn't want to experience, if it's something happened or whatever, it was a lesson. It was
Right.
something you learned out of it. Like you said, if it was something what to do or what not to do, and you simply have blessings to where,
Right.
hey, it still got blessed. You know, you came out on top. You're still healthy, whole, healed, and all of those good things. And it wasn't to your detriment.
Right. And see, and that's awesome that just having conversations like that right now, because not to not to dwell on the past, but just for some
Mhm.
contrast, I didn't always think that way, and that's not the way I was raised to think. I was raised to think, and the people I was around, family and all that, we all had the mindset of blame and dwelling on what people have done to us, and more like victimhood. And we stayed in that
Mhm.
mindset, upset,
Right, right,
angry,
right.
and not realizing that it wasn't really helping us in any way, because I just came across another quote, and I don't know who said it, but it said, and you'll see where I'm going with this. It says, "Can it be fixed? Okay. Why you complaining? Can it not be fixed? Why you complaining?" So either
Right.
or, what you complaining for? If it
Right.
can be fixed, fix it. If it can't, okay, it can't be fixed. So move on.
Right.
What you complaining for?
I
So
agree.
yeah, so that's how I'm saying. I know we get things at the right moments, but I, I'm I'm thankful that I'm able to impart this type of information to people now, and hopefully they'll get it before I, at a stage in their life before I did, because it took a long time before I started thinking like that,
Right.
because everything was about, for most of my life, I could say,
Mhm.
um, that's how I thought. Blame. It's not my fault. Look what
Right.
they did. And just focusing on it without saying, wait a minute, this is disrupting my peace. I could just move on. I can forgive, forget, but it doesn't necessarily mean, when I forgive, that means let it go within my heart. It doesn't necessarily mean that I'm inviting that entity
Right.
or that physical person back into my life, but it means I'm no
Absolutely.
longer harboring these. And it can be difficult, believe me, especially if you didn't think that way, because,
Mhm.
haven't had a mindset like that.
Right.
But you'll find that it's much more conducive with your inner peace when you can just say, I
Right.
forgive you and I release you, and that's
Right.
it. And that's it. Go your way in peace. And that's it. Other than,
And it's
man,
funny you say
you know,
that. It's
yeah.
funny you say that because that was the first step in my book and it's called Stop Playing the Blame Game.
Wow, you have a book
Because
entitled "Stop Playing the Blame Game."
you know the book that I created after divorce, Bounce Back After Divorce,
Right.
that's the first stage in it.
Oh,
Is
okay.
saying yes, stop playing the blame game.
Blame game. Wow.
Yes, yeah, that's definitely the first stage because it's like, of course, when anybody who's been in a bad relationship or whatever type relationship before, we can always say, oh, well, they did this, or, we play the victim and stuff, like you said, blaming other people. But
Right.
you also have to remember sometimes that you were a willing participant. And you have to take a step back and look in the mirror and say, how did I contribute to these things? How did I get in this situation? So you really have to question yourself and say, okay, how did I get here? What part did I play in it? And now what decisions I have to make to get myself out of it? And you do have to let the stuff go because you have to own it. You have to own your stuff. It's not even about the other person. Because your healing is gonna come from you owning your stuff, not what they did to you.
Wow. And
You because you're forgiving them for yourself.
yes, yes, and releasing that baggage off of you, that heaviness from your heart. Now, if you haven't already answered this, maybe you have, but how did you get to that point where you started looking within? I mean, or were you always like that?
Well, I came from a religious background, so like all we did growing up was go to church.
Right,
So, my dad was a deacon, my mom was a Sunday school teacher, and all this stuff like that. So, prayer and everything was always a part, or church was always a part of my life.
right,
But within that, during that time frame, of course, at that time I was an adult, so I had to find a relationship with God for myself. What does that relationship change? Because you're an adult now. You're going through different things that you never thought you probably would even go through.
Right.
And I got to the point where I was tired of being angry. I was tired of being upset. It wasn't healthy for me. I had gained a lot of weight during my marriage,
Right.
and it was just I didn't like what I had become. And I used to say that I was damaged goods.
Right.
And
I've been
and
there.
it's a lot of things, yeah, it's a lot of things I used to say and how I felt. And I was just tired. I was tired of feeling that way. I was tired of just existing because
Mhm.
like a lot of those years I don't even remember sometime like what was I doing during this time? Like because like the time just passed by. I'm like, what was I doing?
I
Like,
know. Where was I?
and life was just passing me by.
Right.
And I wanted a better life. And I was sick and tired of just, I didn't like what I was and I wanted more. I wanted better. Because I know at the core of who I was, I still had a goal. I still had visions. I still had dreams of seeing myself, at a better place.
Right.
And I wanted to get to that.
Mm, that's amazing.
So, yeah.
Wow. That sounds similar to, and not to take away from you, but to even add just even more value. That sounds similar to my uh, story as well, because
Uh,
I got to a place where I was like, what is going on here? Where did these years go? What am I doing? What am I involved in? Why do I keep getting into the same mess? What's the common denominator? Just all kinds of things. And then finally I got to the point, excuse me, of just self-reflecting and just working on me. And
yeah.
and I saw a big difference,
Mhm.
even till now. It's just I'm okay with myself, and
Right.
learning about myself and being with myself, even in the midst of, you know, a significant other or family. I'm okay with me. And I think, and I don't want to take this far off track, but I feel that we all need to get to a point, if we already haven't, that we just learn about ourselves.
Right.
Um, even a quote from Marcus Aurelius that says, "Know thyself," and love being in the company of your own self. Because some people, uh, and I didn't even say some people. There was a point where I didn't like being alone. I always had to have people around me, and that was a reflection of me. It was because I was trying to had some demons or something that was going on that I didn't want to have to listen to, you know.
Yeah.
And now I love the solitude of just relaxing and talking to myself and just relaxing with myself. And I never say that
Yeah.
I'm alone. I always say I'm with myself. And people ask me, who are you talking to in there? I say the smartest person that I know. And they say, well, who? I don't see anybody in here. You see me in here.
Right.
You do see somebody in here. So,
Right.
yeah, we get to a point where we just have to just be able to look in the mirror and love ourselves and know that we just are special. We're unique. We're powerful. We're
Yeah.
resilient. We're here. We have a purpose, and just tell ourselves that until it actually sticks. And
Right.
it took years for me to feel that way, because regardless of whether physical, outer, or inner beauty, I mean, we all have things that we focus on at times that we just don't like, and that can
Right.
just throw off everything. And then we start to feel, well, I'm just giving my perspective that we deserve these
Hmm.
unfortunate things in this type of
Right.
relationship. No, no, you don't.
Yeah.
You can
Yeah.
always change. And another thing too, and see, that's what I'm saying. And I'll talk, as you can see. Uh,
Yeah.
your past is your past, so no,
Hmm.
no, ever let anyone hold you to who you used to be and all that. Oh,
Yeah.
you no, nope. I'm a different
Right.
person than I
Right.
was yesterday. And if you want to try to hold me to that person I was, then you need to stay back there in
Absolutely.
that time period then, because that's not
Right.
who I am now. And I won't allow you to drag me there.
Right.
You know, I'm,
And,
I'm,
and
yeah, go ahead.
that's gonna be, and I think people need to understand, and because I know when people are going through their healing process and they are
Right.
changing and evolving, and sometimes relationships you used to have, you won't have them anymore
Right.
because you have evolved and changed. And it could be a point where you can get to a lonely space,
Right.
just like you was just saying. But you're gonna be at a place where you're gonna be able to sit with yourself and you're gonna love yourself. You're gonna be like, I'm okay with me.
Right.
I know the process I'm going through. I know this journey I'm going through. I know that it's working for my good. It's benefiting me,
Right.
because I feel great. Being a better version of myself. And it's like, I can't let this feeling go just because of some connections that was probably fake in the first place.
Right.
So,
Yeah.
but that's gonna happen, and sometimes you don't realize it's happening until one day you look around and you like, huh, I'm not close with, like I used
Right.
to do this and used to do that, and I had all these people around me, and now nobody is here.
Right. You
You're
know,
different.
I've even read, I mean, and I've encountered it that transformation, growth, evolving can be a lonely road because you shed things that aren't conducive to you anymore. And it doesn't mean that no one's good anymore. It's just that means you're just not in that on that page anymore. Basically, to put it quite
Right.
simply, it's what page they're on. You're not on that anymore, and it
Absolutely.
causes an uncomfortable energy to even oftentimes converse with someone that's not on that same frequency as you're on. And I've learned that even with family members. And
Mm-hmm.
I've had to check myself to make sure I'm just not doing it out of spite or to think that I'm just better than anyone. I have to check myself and say, well, no, these relationships are just naturally dissipating and falling away because we don't have anything basically in common anymore as far
Right.
as our
And that's
personal.
what it is.
Yeah, that's basically it. They might, and I'm not judging anyone, but I'm saying, I'm just giving an example for context. They might still be focusing on always talking about drama, always talking about the past, always, and you're not there anymore. And you don't have to, for anybody else's comfort, subject yourself to that, you know, and you can do it in a good way. Like, okay, without even saying it directly, just people know when you pulling back from them. They know it.
Oh yeah.
And
They
sometimes
do.
they'll get offended. They'll get offended,
Hmm.
and that's okay, because it's not like you're doing it to offend them. You're doing it
It's not personal.
for yourself. You are
Hmm.
responsible for your well-being, and you got to take care of you. You do. And
Absolutely.
oftentimes in life, we put ourselves out there over those railroad tracks for other people's comfort, and get
Hmm.
ran over by that train plenty of times, and it's like, no, no more. At this point in my life, no more. I'm not trying to
Hmm.
run no one over, and I'm not letting people run me over. If I feel that way, some just don't feel right. Now, granted, every single moment of encounter with somebody is not always going to be bliss, but whether you guys are here or not. You
Right.
know that. So, because
Right.
you can have disagreements and doesn't mean, oh, we just disagreed, so you need to be out of my life. No, that's not what I'm talking about. It just
Right.
means the overall whole narrative. Is it what's going on here? If it's just that's not you anymore, you know it, you know.
Right.
Excuse me. But I had an amazing time speaking with you today, Coach Kimberly, and just thank you very much again. And
No problem.
yes,
Thank you.
while we're still here, could you audibly,
Mhm.
we got about 2 more minutes, give us like your website. Do you have a website, or how can people find you?
Well, right now they can just find me on Facebook.
Okay.
My name, like I have a business page on Facebook called Heal One Build One, and
Heal one, build one.
on Instagram is One Coach Kim. Well, One Coach underscore Kim. So, and on
Okay.
TikTok it's the same. So I have videos on there and everything. So yeah, and they can find my books at Amazon. Kimberly M. Moorer.
Yes, yes. And I will be sure to incorporate all of those links in the description of this segment so that people can
Okay.
click on there and find it, go to where they need to go to find you and your amazing books. And yes, that's
Awesome.
amazing. Thank you, everyone, for watching Enlightened, Empowered, Evolved. Be sure to hit my website, 333empower.com. And if you think you'd be an amazing guest for this show, send an email to 333empower@gmail.com. And just thank you. Hit that like button, that subscribe button, wherever you're watching and or listening. And just leave comments, questions. Let us know how we're doing. Help the platform grow and just help spread these beautiful dialogues and messages. Thank you very much. See you soon. Enlightened, Empowered, Evolved.